In this video, I'm going to show you how to resolve or improve your medial epicondylitis and your lateral epicondylitis, also known as golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. Don't ask me which is which, I can never remember, but all you need to know is medial epicondylitis is the inside of the elbow and lateral is the outside of the elbow. If your problem is with the outside of the elbow, you can go ahead and skip to the second half of this video now where I address that. If your problem is the medial side, we're going to get into that right now. So medial epicondylitis gives pain right here at the elbow, and it comes from the forearm muscles that flex the wrist being too tight, and also the muscles that flex these two fingers, your pinky finger and your ring finger as well. So let's relax all these muscles and see if it doesn't make it feel better. So how do we do that? So first things first, just find the bony part of the elbow and just come off that a little bit onto the soft part, the muscle part. And it may feel quite tender. If you have this a bad case of this, it's going to feel quite tender when you press on this. And I want you to keep your fingers down here because I want you to feel what happens here when you flex your wrist like so. When you flex the wrist, you'll feel that there is a hardening or a tensing of the muscles down here close to your elbow. Okay, so do that again, flex the elbow, and then also close up your fingers, particularly your pinky finger and your ring finger, and you'll feel that creates more tension here. Once you've done that, go ahead and squeeze or tighten your forearm. So forget about your hand and your wrist, but think about tightening your forearm, and you'll feel this creates even more tension right down here. And then when you're ready, you're just very, very slowly going to relax that effort in the forearm, let your wrist extend a little bit and the hand soften, and you'll feel under your fingers the elbow muscles softening. Let's do that again. Flex the wrist down. You'll feel the muscles tense here in the forearm. Close up your hand, flex your fingers in like a fist. You'll feel more tension right here. Once you're in this position, squeeze your forearm and you'll feel more tension here at the elbow. This is what we want. You've contracted these muscles deliberately. Then when you're ready, very slowly and smoothly, just let them soften out again. And of course, as you do that, your wrist will cease flexing and your hand will soften up as well. Okay, so let's do that again. Flex the wrist down, squeeze the fingers, the pinky finger and ring finger shut, squeeze your forearm, and you can adjust a little bit the position of your wrist and hand and fist where it's pointing so that you get the most sensation down here close to your elbow. And once you can feel that you're making a deliberate tensing of this part, you're in business. From there, you just very, very slowly let it soften out. Let the wrist open and let the hand open as well. Now you're lengthening out those muscles again, and you can even extend your wrist back the other way. Okay. Let's do that one more time. Flex the wrist, close up the fist, squeeze the forearm, adjust slightly the position of the wrist and fist if required so that you get the most amount of tension down here. That's about there for me. I can feel a nice clear. The whole forearm is tight now. And then just very, very slowly let that soften out, let it relax. You'll feel the softness in the forearm and let the wrist extend and the fingers extend as well. Voila. Okay. So you're starting to get a feel for how you can relax these muscles. Let's differentiate the finger action from the wrist action for more comfort. So the setup is the same. Flex the wrist and make the tension here. But from here, keep your wrist flexed and then you're going to open the hand like so. So now you're extending the fingers and then you're going to close the hand, keeping the wrist flexed at all times. And you'll feel with your fingers here, you'll feel that there's a change in what happens. Different muscles move. So open the fingers, close the fingers, open the fingers, close the fingers, keeping the wrist flexed, open the fingers, close the fingers. And as you close the fingers, there's more tension. As you open the fingers, there's less tension, but there's still some tension because your wrist is flexed. Close and open, and then slowly let everything relax. And extend the wrist the other way. So now you've separated the two actions in your brain of wrist and fingers. And there's another way we can do that. We can flex the wrist, close up the hand, make the fist. So this is what we were doing originally, but now we're going to keep our fist closed as we extend the wrist the opposite way and then flex it down again. So now we're just moving the wrist whilst keeping the fingers flexed. Just do this a couple of times as well. Make sure you can feel the contraction in your forearm when you flex the wrist and the lengthening out all up here as you extend the wrist the other way. And we'll do that one more time and relax. And there's one other way we can do this. We can have the hand open with the fingers extended, and we can flex the wrist. You'll feel this a little more up this part of your forearm, and then slowly extend the wrist. And we'll do that about 2 or 3 times, flexing the wrist with the fingers open and extending the wrist again. And one more time, and then slowly the other way. Let your arms rest down and just take a moment with the eyes closed and just notice how that feels one arm to the other. You'll almost feel like your forearm is larger on the side you've worked with. Now you can also simply just press on the area near the elbow, and if you've done that correctly, it should feel a lot more comfortable, a lot softer, and a lot less tender when you press on it. So that is medial epicondylitis. If you have pain in the inside elbow, do that a couple of times a day. You should find it resolves quite swiftly. If this is a persistent problem for you, I'd also recommend releasing your chest and shoulders as well. I've put some links in the description for good videos that would help you to do that, that would work in conjunction with this exploration. Lateral epicondylitis. This side, the outer part of the elbow, up here. And this is when the extensor muscles of the forearm are tight and they're pulling on the bones up here at the elbow. So we do the opposite of what we were doing for the inside of the elbow. This time we're going to extend the wrist like so. And as we do that, you can very easily feel to extend the wrist is to contract the muscles in the forearm very deliberately. So we'll just extend, find a position that gives us the most sensation on the outside of the elbow now. So I'm going to flex my wrist there, and if I kind of wave my hand a little bit, I can change the amount of tension here, and right about there for me is good. It may be different for you. Once you find this position, can you squeeze your forearm? Think about tensing your entire forearm, and then very, very slowly let that soften out and let your hand come back to the table. So just like always, we're contracting muscles deliberately and then relaxing them deliberately. And let's do that a couple of times. Extending the wrist and extending the fingers kind of deliberately as well, adjusting the position so that we get the most contraction right up here where the problem is, and then with your fingers on that spot, just nice and slowly let it soften out and come to complete rest. And once your hand is down, you'll immediately feel the muscles soften out. Now the forearm muscles are kind of stringy because they're small and long muscles, but you should definitely feel some less tenderness each time you do this when you press on them. Let's do that again. So we extend the wrist, adjust the position, and then from here you can do some interesting things. You can do what we were doing on the other side, which is closing and opening the fingers a bit. This can feel a little bit hard on the hand, but take your time, just open and close the fingers a bit, and you'll feel how, again, this creates more sensation in your forearm. You can feel, and you can probably see here the muscles moving. And then let that relax. So we can also extend the wrist with a fist. This is going to feel slightly different, and it's going to take the fingers out of the equation. We're going to extend the wrist, feel the tension here, and again you can adjust where your fist is pointing so that you can get the most tension in the spot you want. We want to increase the tension first. We're not going to pull on it. We increase it deliberately and then slowly just let it relax. Like so. That's good. Now let's do that about 2 more times. Extend the wrist, adjust the position of the fist where it's pointing, get the most effort in the outer part of the elbow, and then just slowly let your forearm and arm soften out and come to a complete rest. And these work very fast. You'll only have to do it a couple of times and you should feel an immediate decrease in tension. Last time, extending the wrist, creating tension on the outer part here, and then slowly letting that relax. Once you've done that, just roll the wrist in a circle a couple of times. Nice and easy. And then you can rest, hands down, and again, just take a moment to compare the feeling of the forearm you've been working with to the other one and see if they don't feel quite different now. Does your forearm feel larger than before? And again, you can just take your hands, press on the muscles that are involved. They should feel much less tender and uncomfortable to press on. Again, if you have pain here, you're going to need to release the muscles of the chest and shoulders as well, and the neck. And I've linked some videos in the description to help you with that, and they will work very well in conjunction with this movement. Practice those a couple of times a day for about a week, and you should find you're having much less pain in your elbows, and your entire arm, elbow, wrist and hand should feel much more comfortable. Give that a try. Let me know how you get on. And if you'd like to take a full movement class with me, check out my on-demand videos. You can find the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.